Hello, students. Today we are going to begin with the fourth chapter of our literature, The Ashes That Made Trees Bloom. Now, ashes. What is ash? Whenever we burn something, the leftover residue is ash. Normally, we don't use it in any way except for cleaning utensils. Can ash be used to bloom the trees? Blooming means flowering. We have no idea. It could only happen in magic. I don't think so otherwise. This is a story about an honest and hardworking old couple and their pet dog. So the main protagonists, the main characters here are a couple, and here they are very honest and they are very hardworking, and they have a pet dog. The neighbors are troublesome. They are very good, they are kind, compassionate, but the neighbors are really troublesome, and the dog dies a sad death. Now, how the dog dies, we'll see in the chapter. The spirit of the dog gives solace. Solace means a happiness when you are especially sad or disappointed, and support to his master in unexpected ways, going out of the way or very surprising ways, in very magical ways. Let's begin with the chapter. In the good old days of the daimyos means in the 19th century Japan's wealthy landowners. In the days of the landowners, there lived an old couple whose only pet was a little dog. So there's a couple, the couple is old, and they have a pet dog having no children. The other information given here is they have no children. They loved it as though it were a baby, and so they loved it more ardently, more than otherwise, because they are not even having any children or any child here. They are not having any child. The old dame made it a cushion of blue crepe. Dame is actually an honor given to a lady. So the old dame, the old lady, made it a cushion of blue crepe. With all the love, made a cushion for him to sit, and it is made up of crepe and it's blue colored. And at mealtime, Muko is the name of this dog, for that was its name, would sit on it as snug as any cat, and very comfortably the dog would sit on it. The kind people fed the dog or pet with tidbits of fish. So fish was given to it to eat from their own chopsticks. And because they loved the dog a lot, they made him or they fed him with their own chopsticks. You know, in Japan, they are eating the noodles and the rice with these chopsticks made of wood. And the boiled rice it wanted, even gave him boiled rice. Thus treating the dumb creature loved its protectors like a being with a soul. Thus, this dumb creature, we are calling this animal, this dog, as dumb because it cannot speak our language. So, the dog also started loving the protectors or the old couple a lot, and considered a being with a soul, and they considered him as a human being with a soul. Otherwise, we know all living beings have a soul, but here also they considered the animal as a human being. The old man, being a rice farmer, went daily with hoe or spade into the fields. You know, when the farmers go to the fields, they require these implements, especially the hoe and the spade. So these are the instruments to work in the field. Working hard from morning until O Tento Sama, as the sun is called. Now this is what the sun is called, had gone down behind the hills. So in simple language, from morning till until evening or sunset, he works in the fields. Every day, the dog followed him to work, and the dog always accompanied him. Never once harming. And the dog was also so good that he never harmed the white heron. Heron is also a sea or a water bird. that walked in the footsteps of the old man to pick up the worms. Now, can you see that he loves the dog very much? But not only the dogs, all the other birds or animals or anything that has life. He loves all the beings which has life, all the living beings. For the old fellow was patient. He allowed the bird to move in his feet, and for the old fellow was very patient and kind to everything that had life, whether it is birds or animals or human beings. He was very kind to everybody, and often turned up a sword on purpose to give food to the birds. Sword are the tiny grasses that is he provided, or he fed it to the birds, because he was very kind. One day, the dog came running to him, putting his paws, the feet of the animals is known as paws, against his legs, and motioning with his head to some spot behind. Now, how will a dog communicate or talk to the farmer? He is giving gestures and he is making movements. So he is has put his paws on his legs and he's showing him a spot, a place, a point that he should go there. The old man at first thought this that his pet was only playing. He did not notice anything, or he ignored. He could not understand and did not mind it. But the dog kept on whining. Whining means creating the sound. He kept on creating the sound and running to and fro for some minutes. Now we as human beings are intelligent enough to understand even when the animals are not able to speak. Then the old man followed the dog a few yards to a place where the animal began a lively scratching. So the old man now followed the dog. He now realized that the dog wants to say something. So he went a little distance away, a few yards, and there the animal started scratching the ground, thinking it was possibly a buried bone or a fish. So he thought that, okay, the dog would be looking for a bone or a fish which is buried. The old man stuck his hoe in the earth. So just in this way, he thought, expecting this, he thought, and he stuck the ground with his hoe. But lo, very unexpected thing happened. A huge pile of gold gleamed before him. Gold coins, can you see in the picture? A pile of gold, well arranged coins or a pile of gold have started gleaming, shining before him. So he found a treasure. Now he would become rich. Thus, in an hour, the old couple were made rich. Who made them rich? The dog made them rich. The good souls. Who are these good souls? The couple, the good couple, bought a piece of land. Now, with that money, they bought a piece of land. This is the first thing. Made a feast for their friends. They arranged a party for the friends and gave plentifully to their poor neighbors. And they were kind enough, they were generous enough, benevolent enough to give money to the poor neighbors also. So they are so kind. As for the dog, they petted him till they nearly smothered him with kindness. Smothered means covered. So he was further completely wrapped in kindness. Now, in the same village, now these are all, they are good people. Now we come to the wicked couple. Now, in the same village, there lived a wicked old man and his wife. They are just the opposite of the kind and good couple, not a bit sensitive and kind. They are not even having a tinge of sensitivity and kindness in them. They are very cruel, they are very greedy, who had always kicked and scolded all dogs whenever any passed their house. Can you see the opposite reaction to the kind couple or the old farmer? that how he was being kind to all the dogs and the heron, but here he kicked and scolded all the dogs that came near his house. Hearing of their neighbors' good luck. When this couple heard that there was a dog, and because of this dog, the old couple became rich, and there was a good luck, there was a fortune which befalled on them. They coaxed the dog into their garden. Coaxed means they made the dog persuade him to come to their garden and set before him bits of fish so that he can come in the greed of food, and other dainties, other tasty foods were also provided to him. They are today providing food and dainties to this dog because of greed. They want the gold, which can only be searched by this dog, hoping he would find treasure for them. But the dog, being afraid of the cruel pair, would neither eat nor move. But he was not ready to eat because he understood the animals are also sensitive enough to the behavior of people. So he did not eat anything and did not move. Then they dragged him out of doors, taking a spade and hoe with them. Because he was not himself moving, they dragged this dog now out of the doors, and also took the implement to dig the ground, that is, hoe and a spade. No sooner had the dog got near a pine tree growing in the garden. There was a pine tree growing in their garden. Then he began to paw and scratch the ground. There he started scratching the ground. Obviously the reaction would be that the this wicked couple would think that yes, there is gold hidden here and we will get it, as if a mighty treasure lay underneath. This is what the dog did. Quick. Who said this? The wicked man. He said, quick, wife, hand me, give me the spade and hoe, and I will dig the ground. And cried the greedy old fool. Greedy, cried means he shouted loudly, impatiently. And he is an old fool. He is greedy, he is old, and here he is said to be a fool because he is being fooled. There is no treasure hidden inside. As he danced with joy, he became very happy. Then then the covetous old couple with a spade and the old crone with a hoe began to dig. Covetous means greedy. Old fellow, they started digging with the spade. And the old crone, the old woman, with a hoe, she also started helping her husband, began to dig. But there was nothing but a dead kitten. There was only a dead kitten. Kitten is the baby of a cat, the smell of which made them drop their tools. And it was smelling so badly that they couldn't bear it and shut their noses. Furious, now they were so furious, so angry at the dog, the old man kicked and beat him to death. He beat him so much that he finally died. And the old woman finished the work by nearly chopping off his head. The woman was also very furious because she was also very greedy, and she cut the head of the dog with the sharp hoe. Then they flung him into the hole, and then they threw him into a hole, and and heaped the earth over his carcass and covered his dead body with the soil or with the earth. So in this way they actually killed the dog because the dog did not give them or help them in getting the gold treasure or treasure. The owner of the dog heard of the death of his pet and mourning for him. Mourning means feeling very, very sad and crying at the death of somebody as if he had been his own child. So he started crying and mourning for him. Went at night under the pine tree. This is the pine tree, and the grave is just near this pine tree. the grave where the dog was buried by the wicked couple. He set up some bamboo tubes in the ground. Now you know that the dog was just like their baby or family member. So whenever there is a grave, wherever the dead body is buried is known as a grave. And you are always putting flowers and incense sticks on the grave. You are always remembering and remembering the dead ones. So here he also put some bamboo tubes. They are hollow, you know, bamboo tubes are hollow, such as they became the flower vase, such as are used before tombs, in which he put fresh flowers. So this also became like a grave or a tomb, and he put fresh flowers there every day. Then he laid a cup of water. Also, a cup of water was laid because he loved the dog very much, and a tray of food was also kept on the grave, and burned several costly sticks of incense. Incense sticks, we know, we burn these incense sticks before God also. In our houses also we are bringing, and it gives us nice, a nice smell, aroma or smell. So he mourned a great while over his pet, calling him many dear names. And he loved the dog like a child, and he was missing him a lot. So he called him, wanted to bring him back, and started calling him by many dear names as if he were alive. So you can understand how much he is mourning and feeling sad at the death of his pet dog. That night, the spirit of the dog appeared to him in a dream and said, "Cut down the pine tree." Can you see the pine tree in the picture near the grave? So the dog said that, "Cut down this pine tree over my grave and make from it a mortar for your rice pastry." And make a mortar. You know, you are always grounding the ginger, etc., in your mortar in your kitchen. So you just crush anything in your kitchen with the help of a mortar. So mortar is a kind of bowl, and you have a pistol also. So it is going to help you crush something. Here he is going to crush the rice pastry, and is going to make a nice paste. So make him into a mortar for your rice pastry and a mill for your bean sauce. So this is the advice, or this is the suggestion given by the dog even when he has died in the dream. Because even after death, he is going to make him more and more richer. So this is how we have understood that the dog was also extremely kind, and he loved the old couple a lot. The remaining part of the chapter we are going to do in the next part. I hope you would understand it. Try to revise this.